Hey everyone, welcome back to Philosophy of Finance. Today, we're diving deep into the mind of one of history's greatest thinkers, Aristotle, to explore a surprisingly modern topic, finance. You might be wondering, what could a philosopher from ancient Greece possibly teach us about our 21st century economy? Well, it turns out a lot. Aristotle's critique of making money from money was so profound that it shaped economic thought for centuries. And I believe it's more relevant today than ever. So, let's get into it. First, let's set the stage. Aristotle lived in Athens around 350 BC. This wasn't just a time of togas and temples. It was a bustling hub of commerce. He saw firsthand the rise of trade, currency, and early forms of lending. But unlike us, he didn't just see numbers and transactions. He saw human actions, and for him, every action had a purpose, a telos, aimed at achieving the ultimate goal, eudaimonia, or the good life. This wasn't about feeling happy all the time, but about human flourishing, living a life of virtue and excellence. So when he looked at the economy, he asked a simple but powerful question. Does this activity contribute to a good life? This ethical framework is the key to understanding his entire critique of finance. This brings us to one of his most famous distinctions: the difference between natural and unnatural wealth acquisition. For Aristotle, natural wealth acquisition, or oikonomia, was about managing a household. Think of a farmer growing crops to feed his family and maybe selling the surplus to buy things he can produce, like tools or cloth. The goal here is to meet the household's needs. The accumulation of goods has a natural limit. Once your family is fed and sheltered, you've achieved your goal. This type of exchange is necessary for life, and, in his view, completely honorable. It's all about use value. But then he observed a second type of acquisition, which he called chrematistics. This is the art of getting wealth for its own sake. It starts innocently enough. You sell wine not just to buy bread, but to make a profit. Money, which was invented to make exchange easier, suddenly becomes the goal itself. This is what Aristotle called unnatural wealth acquisition. Why? Because unlike the needs of a household, the desire for money is limitless. There's no logical stopping point. You can always have more. This shift from acquiring goods for use to acquiring money for its own sake was for Aristotle a corruption of the natural order of things. And this is where he gets to the heart of his critique, the part that probably sounds most familiar to us, the problem of money making money. He specifically targets usury, or the charging of interest on loans. His logic is simple and elegant. Money, he argued, is barren. It's a tool for exchange, a medium. A cow can have a calf, a field can yield a crop, but a coin can't naturally reproduce. It doesn't grow on its own. So, when you lend money and charge interest, you are essentially making money from money itself. He famously said that this is the most unnatural form of wealth acquisition because it makes a gain out of money itself, and not from the natural object of it. You're treating money not as a means, but as an end that can breed more of itself. It's a perversion of its true purpose. This idea was so powerful that for over 1,000 years, major religions and philosophers condemned the practice of charging interest, largely based on Aristotle's reasoning. Now, let's fast forward 2,400 years and put Aristotle in conversation with modern finance. If he saw our world today, his mind would be blown. Our entire global economy is built on the very principle he condemned. We have complex financial instruments, derivatives, high-frequency trading, entire industries dedicated to making money from money, often detached from the production of any real goods or services. A hedge fund manager can make millions in a fraction of a second by betting on currency fluctuations. A bank creates profit by lending money at interest. This is the engine of modern capitalism. From a purely Aristotelian perspective, our financial system is the ultimate form of unnatural chrematistics. We've created a system where money is not just fertile, it's hyper-fertile. And it operates at a scale and speed that Aristotle could never have imagined. So was Aristotle just a naive ancient thinker who didn't understand progress? Not at all. His concern wasn't with efficiency or a lack of economic sophistication. His concern was ethical. Remember eudaimonia, the good life? He believed that an obsessive focus on accumulating wealth for its own sake was detrimental to our character. It encourages greed, a vice he called pleonexia, the desire to have more and more, often at the expense of others. It detaches economic activity from its real-world purpose, to serve human needs and contribute to a flourishing community. When the ultimate goal of your work is just a number in a bank account, what happens to virtue? What happens to your relationships, your community, and your own sense of purpose? Aristotle worried that a society obsessed with chrematistics would lose sight of what truly matters for a good life. It would prioritize profit over people, accumulation over contribution, and the abstract world of finance over the real world of human needs. And this is precisely why Aristotle's critique still matters so much today. Think about it. We see the consequences of this detachment all the time. The 2008 financial crisis was a textbook example. Complex financial instruments, completely detached from the real value of the homes they represented, nearly brought down the global economy. We talk about jobless recoveries, where the stock market soars, but real wages stagnate and people struggle. We see massive wealth inequality, where a tiny fraction of the population holds a disproportionate amount of wealth, much of it generated through financial investments rather than a contribution of tangible value to society. We debate the ethics of corporations that prioritize shareholder value above all else, leading to layoffs, environmental shortcuts, and other negative social outcomes. These are all modern manifestations of the very problem Aristotle identified. He's asking us to pause and reflect. What is the purpose of our economy? Is it simply to grow GDP and maximize returns on investment? Or is it to create a society where all people have the opportunity to flourish and live a good life? So what can we take away from this? Aristotle isn't telling us to tear down the entire financial system and go back to bartering. His philosophy is a call for balance and reorientation. It's a reminder that the economy should be a tool in service of humanity, not the other way around. It challenges us to think critically about our own relationship with money. Are we using it as a tool for a good life, to support our families, contribute to our communities, and pursue our passions? Or have we fallen into the trap of wanting more for its own sake? On a larger scale, his ideas push us to advocate for a more ethical financial system, one that is better tethered to the real economy, so that promotes shared prosperity and that is regulated in a way that prevents it from harming the society it's meant to serve. Perhaps we need a modern oikonomia, a new way of thinking about economics that places human flourishing, eudaimonia, back at its very center. Aristotle's ancient wisdom provides a powerful lens through which to view our modern world. He reminds us that the questions we ask about our economy are not just technical, but deeply moral. They are questions about what kind of society we want to live in and what it truly means to live a good life. It's a conversation that's 2,400 years old, but one we need to have now more than ever. Thanks so much for watching. What do you think? Is our financial system unnatural in the way Aristotle described? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video and want to explore more big ideas, be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. See you in the next one.